Hello, everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is The Room Mill. This is One Leeds. Welcome back to the latest video. This video, as always, is sponsored by Shop GNO, The Job Match Group, and Match Bingo. Let's get into it. First up, The Job Match Group. Whether you're looking for your next big gig or just browsing, The Job Match Group has niche job sites made just for you. F1, retail, security, and loads more. They're about matching the right person to the right job. Make sure you check them out if you're ready to level up your career. Then we've got Shop GNO, an exciting new e-commerce site where you can grab exclusive deals and discounts. Right now, One Leeds has an affiliate link just below where you can score a 25 quid membership for free, unlocking special rates and benefits. You can even list your own shop on there with way better rates than Amazon, eBay, and Vinted. They've got some Leeds bits and some general bits now and launching soon, plus some great prizes just for signing up. This is all powered by a massive Leeds United fan looking to make waves in the online shopping world. So check them out and support your local. And don't forget our mates at Match Bingo. They're smashing it with footy fun. You can get 5 bingo cards for the price of 4 through One Leeds, and you can even deposit just a £5 at a time to join the action. It's a big chance to win whilst having a blast with your fellow Leeds United friends. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Check the links in the description, and let's get on with the video. Hello, everybody. What is going on in your world? My name is Conor McGilligan. This is the Rumour Mill, and obviously this is One Leeds. What's going on, everybody? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you're all good. I hope you're all well. And Leeds United coming up against Arsenal this weekend. Can we get the win? Can we get the W? Can we get that victory? It's going to be tough, isn't it? And I've done my predictions. I have said a couple of predictions on my other channel. I'm not confident about this weekend, but we're going to get into a little bit of the preview. We're going to get into a little bit of what Daniel Farkas said in just a second. But before that, everybody, please slap a like on the video. And let's get into some of your comments, shall we? Who does everyone think will sign before the window shuts? He's only out for 2 games, hopefully. Yes. Okay, you guys clearly are talking in the chat before I've got here, which is great. Sam says, hi, Conor. This is the first time I've got live in a while. Also, I'm top of the FPL league. Yeah, we've got... Guys, I'll be honest with you. I'm not, like, mad on FPL, but there is an FPL league within our Patreon chat. So shout out to Terry, who might be in here, who runs it, but I don't really take part in FPL. We can create a league if you guys want to do that. If one of you want to do that, I'm happy to promote it. No problem. And we can just add our teams as we go along. I think that's how it works. But yes, I do have a team. Yes, it is called the Be All and End All. Good, I know. But yeah, and yes, I am 41st. So not a great game week, but there we go. So yeah, I can share it to you guys if you want. That's absolutely fine. I think the bottom 3 take everybody out for a meal or something like that. I think that's the agreement we've got in the Patreon chat. So that's going to be specific for there. But if you want to create another league, absolutely fine with that. No worries. And I'll get involved in all that lovely stuff. Morning, Con. I hope you're well. My fingers are crossed for Christantus Uche. He looks like the class we need. Leeds. Jam says discourse, discussion, and McGilligan late again, as always, mate. Morning, Connor. How many do you think we need through the door? Morning, Connor. Live from work. Don't tell the boss. Shout out to you, Ben. How's it going over there, bud? Roscoe's here as well. Now then, hope everyone is well. Like the video. Do as well. Cheers, Benno. Thanks, mate. Morning from Barcelona, Con. How many more do we need? How many more can we get in? How many more versus how many more do we need? Shout out to you, Jocelyn here and Kyriakos. Yeah, listen, 100%. We are going to talk about how many more we need and what's through the door, etc., etc. But I guess this is probably the pertinent thing to talk about, really, when it comes to no Okafor and how you guys are feeling about it. I've mentioned previously that, you know, and you get a bit of... honestly, I had it a little bit yesterday, you know, when DCL came into the club and then no Okafor came into the club. I try to be as honest as I can with you guys. Now, the DCL, the one of those over the head, which you guys were aware of, which I'm going to do every time he scores now, by the way. Every time he scores, that is going over my head. Hopefully he does score. But these instant reactions are instant a lot of the time. And you guys know that because we've been going live so much throughout this whole period for 3 months now, more than anybody else, I'm sure of it, going literally days after we got promoted, we were live doing the rumour mill. So naturally, when someone signs and you don't expect it, it's a live reaction. Now, when it came to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for instance, we're going to get onto no Okafor in a sec, I was a little bit like, oh my God. And at the time, the OGs will know, we were talking about Mitrovic, and there was a genuine possibility. Whatever anybody says now, oh, he's on 400 grand, he was never going to come. There was a genuine possibility, from what I was told, that Alexander Mitrovic was going to absolutely drastically slash his wages, and because he wanted to come back to the Premier League, and he was willing to do that, obviously with the age that he's at. So I was doing a whole deep dive on Mitrovic. I'd done a deep dive on Muniz and potentially how that was moving on with Atalanta, with them going for the targets, and then out of nowhere, Leeds had signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I knew that was going to be a lot of money because I'd been told what he was on at Everton and what he wanted at Everton. So the reaction, the context was, oh God, this is Leeds' number 9 now. This is Leeds' number. Now you take a step out, you take a step away. You take that step away and you have a look. You do the 5 things afterwards and you have a quick look at that player, maybe things that you didn't know beforehand. And you try bring to the one Leedsers exactly the research that I've done, who I've spoken to behind the scenes. Luckily enough, you've got a couple of people in the journalism world who I used to work with, especially on the Blue side when it comes to the Royal Blue podcast, when it comes to Goodison News, etc. So, you're able to formulate a little bit of an opinion there. You come back and you give you guys info. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because no Okafor, I'm a little bit like, there's positives with him, and I'm also a little bit like, I'm still not 100% sure. Right? That doesn't mean that I'm not happy with the signing. It's just I want no Okafor to go out there, and all the sort of doubts that I had in my head, of which I still kind of do with Dominic Calvert-Lewin to an extent, and with no Okafor, you go out there and you prove said person, not wrong as such, but you say, look, this is what I can do. The proof hasn't been in the pudding the last 12 months, which is what said person's basing it on, but I'm going to do something which you don't expect. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for no Okafor. It's what I'm hoping for with DCL. And the main message here is, everybody, is you don't always get everything right. When there is 700 rumours per day, you don't always get it right. You really don't. As a YouTuber, as just a fan of Leeds United, I've got certain knowledge on football players, other football players I don't have knowledge on, but I do try my best, to do the research behind the scenes. And Noah Okafor is another one of which I'm excited for. I'm really excited for. I'm excited and why? Because he's a forward player. Ultimately, he's a forward player. He's a good dribbler and he's quick. And off that left-hand side, that's exactly what we need. So was I slightly disappointed that we didn't go out and get an Armand Loriente, a Christophe Jolis? They were never probably realistic. And a Pajau, of course. And naturally, there's a little bit of a come down, isn't there, to no Okafor? But there is a genuine possibility that the scouts that leads the recruitment team know way more than I do. That's not a possibility. That is a certainty. And these players will do well for Leeds. And, I'm really hoping that is the case. And, you're looking at no Okafor. Could he potentially start this weekend? Unlikely. DCL, could he start this weekend? Unlikely. Although there's a bit of contradictory messages there, because from what we know, DCL's been in shape all summer, but there is a difference between being in shape and match fitness. I can tell you that for a fact. But no Okafor's had a full pre-season. Full pre-seasons where he was good against Leeds and where he was brilliant against Liverpool. And he's had probably one of the better pre-seasons of his career. He had a really good one last season as well. But that's something to take into consideration. So could Noah Okafor make a bit of a surprise appearance at the weekend? But when we're looking at this game and when we're looking at what Farke was saying yesterday, he was talking about the physicality, the priority with that and strength coming into the Premier League, which feeds into the notion of bringing in Noah Okafor because he's, 6 foot tall, 6'1", 185, I think he is. And it was interesting. If you guys haven't seen it, there is an interview with Chris Wilder, which is doing the round. It was rounds. It's called Sports Agents, I think, is the YouTube channel. Wilder's on there, and he said he spoke to Farke. They had a conversation. Farke said to him, effectively, Leeds United next season are going into it prioritising physicality, height, strength, speed, all of that, encompassed within that keyword at the very beginning, physicality. But that is what Leeds United have gone up to the Premier League, unlike last time, obviously, and prioritised because you have to do it now. And Okafor is another tick box there. So another tick box. And once again, that seniority and experience, he's 26 years of age as well, fitting into that bracket again. So Leeds have got a style, they've got a type. If they went in on Hinge, they wouldn't be going for gingers and blondes, right? They'd be going for brunettes who are 6 foot tall. Do you know what I mean? They have a type. They don't like small ginger girls. They don't like blonde-haired girls with, nice legs. They want a brunette who's 6 foot tall. Do you know what I mean? That's what they want. So Leeds United have a type. And that's kind of where I'm at now with it. So, yeah, it is what it is. No Okafor. We're all there to support him. I think he's going to add some real quality to the front line. And I think that with Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Morning, Jay. What's going on? Jem says, good morning, Connor. Hopefully a new signing through the door. Oh, my God. Chris says, nothing, but he's been a member for 18 months. Love you, Chris. Thanks so much. Louise, morning, Connor from Belgium. Not seen you in a while, mate. How's it going? Stack to the future. FPL, do it. Yeah, okay, I might do. Loft says, morning, Connor lad. I think we might seek a draw tomorrow. Oh, mate, I'd love that. Emradin Demirovic and James Justin come in, I think, says Jordan. I disagree with that, mate. I would disagree with that, but I hope you're right. I like what we've done this window. No fancy Dans that would upset the dressing room. Just good, honest players that have a point to prove. And I do like, once again, how I'm listening to, no Okafor yesterday, and he's saying he's got a point to prove. I love that. I am all about that. Having a point to prove. You know what I mean? Having a point to prove. Going up against people who've written you off before, the media, all this sort of stuff. Look, no Okafor. I've been brutally honest with you guys. I've mentioned several times that I watch Serie A regularly. No Okafor really hasn't featured in my brain because he's not been featuring. That's the problem. With the Napoli side who've just gone on to win the Scudetto, and he's barely been part of it, you link with no Okafor then, and you then think he's that's our marquee. Or not a marquee, but that's one of the players up front who we're relying on. But I absolutely love his attitude. I absolutely love his attitude. Do you know what I mean? That is kind of my thing, where you look at and you listen to a player, and there's certain things that he was saying yesterday, the hunger, the desire, proving people wrong. I love that. Absolutely love that. You've done that. People will have done that in the chat their whole lives. I've done that my whole, career, proving people wrong. It's what you do. And that's the drive, isn't it? Of course it is. So I love that from Okafor, and I can relate to that from not a footballer standpoint, but I can relate to that when it comes to a human standpoint as well. So let's see what he can do. I think he will feature at some stage against Arsenal. We'll get into Arsenal in just a little bit, but there was a lot of questions yesterday with Farker about the point per game. I think that's really key, and we need to look at as well before we get into Ampadu. But we need to look at as well the point per game thing, which I was speaking to someone about the other day, right? So we've had Everton, which was a massive win. Then you've got effectively Arsenal, who probably are likely to win the Premier League this season, or may do, may not, but they are going to be challenging. So you chalk that off, and it's not been negative. It's just going to be very difficult. Although Paul Merson thinks we'll go down there and cause an upset, which is brilliant. You look at Newcastle and you can semi-target that. You can semi-target that. And I think Leeds will do that. But overall, worst case scenario, Leeds are beating Everton, we lose the next two. That's a point per game. That's what we're looking at right now to get to that nearly glossy 40 points, yeah? So then you're kind of looking at your Wolves away, Fulham's away. That's your target. They're your target games. These two coming up are going to be really tough. They're top sides in the world. Never mind England. They're top teams. So there's a way that you go into these games as well. But for me, overall, can Leeds nick something? I think we can nick something from Newcastle. I think tomorrow's going to be a tall order. I think it's going to be a really tall order. The Emirates, and we'll get into a preview in just a little bit, everybody, and I want to hear your thoughts, but the Emirates, it just feels down there with Arsenal. Teams don't get anything. You look at the historical context, even when it comes to the top teams, the teams that have gone down there in the past 3 years, it's so tough to get anything. Like, it's one of those grounds where you go to and you think, you just... Do you know what I mean? They always just make light work. At the Emirates in particular, away from home, I think you can get at them a little bit, as we've seen before. But I think at the Emirates, it's tough. It's really tough, So we'll wait and see on that one. But, when you're looking at overall, I quite like the commentary yesterday when it was all talking about the point per game. And Leeds want to add. And that was important as well. The want to add, the need to add, and they do. Okafor can't be it. I don't think DCL can be it. Now, we've had a conversation on One Leeds in the old DDD bracket discussion and debate. Who's the 9 signing? I think DCL is the 9 signing. Although what he was saying yesterday had me at a little bit of a questioning point, because I was thinking to myself, he still wants attacking players. He still wants more players coming through the door. Now, I see that as a 10. Is that a right-sided player as well? I'd love that. I really would love that. But is it a 10 who can veer out on the right? Your Buonanotte, your El Khannouss, which I don't think's dead, by the way. Your Gus Hamer, who can play on the left and centrally. You know, it's these players who can play this versatility role as well, because it's not likely that you're going to go out and get two players for two separate roles going forward. I just don't think that's going to happen. But there's a lot of conversation to be had there in terms of what Leeds need to do. I'd love us to go out and bring in a number 9. I would. I'd love us to go out and bring in a number 9. It's still be my most important position. Like Demirovic, I think it'd be a really good signing. Will Leeds go out and spend 35 million quid on that, as well as they're going to get a central attacking midfielder. They're going to get a central attacking midfielder. I'm absolutely certain of it. So if they do that, they're going to spend 25 million plus. They've already spent 97 million so far. Spend 26 million plus on a central attacking midfielder, or maybe not with today's news. And then you go and spend the money on an attacker, which is going to be, for the striker you want, minimum 30 million quid. But then you've got to get rid of Peru. You've got to get rid of Peru, because you can't then have him realistically as a 4th pecking order for a striker. And can you have 4 strikers on the board anyway in the Premier League? You probably can't. So I think you've got to get rid of some as well. I think that is the realism of it. And I think some fans think that we're just going to add. And some of our favourites from last season aren't going to be interchanged. I think they're going to have to be. Daniel says, morning, Connor. Sign Uche, Khannouss, not heard of him, mate. Tanganga and Justin. Sell Melee, Greenwood, Gruev, Harrison, loan Ramazani. Do you think that's realistic, Con? Yeah, I think we have to talk about Largy. I think with what he was saying yesterday, I think it's a really good point there, Dan. Cheers for your donation as well there, buddy. And we will get into Largy Ramazani. I think once again that's a good segue on the show this morning. So we'll just get into Largy, and we'll get into exactly what the issue, but Farke was talking about a winger yesterday. I'm not going to go into word verbatim. I'm just going to go into paraphrasing here. But he was talking about a winger yesterday, and he was talking about what he needs from a winger. He was then asked about Largy Ramazani, gave almost a positive, and then finished it off with, but effectively it's game situation where you need Largy. And I completely agree. He's not wrong with what he says. But we did go away and do a little bit of research the other day, and someone in the comment section said, Connor, you said after the game that it might be the off-the-ball work with Largy Ramazani, and I responded to this guy in the comments, and I said, but then you go away and do the research. That's the whole point of it. You speculate. Maybe that is the reason that he's not come on in the Everton game, because of his defensive work, but his defensive work per 90 is better than Willian Yonto's, and it's better than Noah Okafor's. So it can't be that. So it must be, for me, ball retention, and maybe giving the ball away a couple of times, which he did last year when Leeds were under the cosh a little bit in some situations. So I think that's what it is. I don't think Farke likes that. Therefore, I don't think Farke trusts him in certain games. So in certain games, maybe you look at your Wolves, okay? If you're 1-0 down, it's a transitional game, you bring Largy Ramazani on, okay? I think that can happen against Arsenal. I think that can happen against Newcastle. I'm not sure Daniel Farke trusts him and sees that as a viable option. So I think what's going to happen, and from a guy who loves Largy Ramazani, thinks Largy Ramazani has so much to give this Leeds United side in transition, which we are working on this year and this season, especially against the likes of Arsenal, Man United, City, Chelsea, etc., etc. I think he could offer a hell of a lot in transition. And we don't need to get into the reasons behind that. We all know the reasons behind that. I don't think Farke fancies him. So I think there is now a massive, massive likelihood that Largy Ramazani leaves Leeds United this window, which I didn't think was even a possibility earlier on. I thought it was just nonsense. But I think right now, and do you know what I'm going to say about this, everybody, as well? I'm just going to say let him go. I just don't see the point. I don't see the point. If you can go and get a Johnny Rowe, throw him one out the hat. I know there's conversations with him and Bologna right now, so we won't use that as a specific example, but a player of that ilk, okay, who mirrors a little bit of Ramazani, fits this new physical profile, because he's, 5'11", 6 foot tall. I believe he's a lot taller than Ramazani, fits the profile, the style a little bit more, the hinge date, which I've told you about previously. But he fits that a little bit more. If you can go out and do that, and Farke's going to play said player, go and get him. And I think you've got to then get rid of Largy Ramazani. That would be a loan for me. If you get rid of him on a transfer, there might be riots in the McGilligan household. No, but I think there's such a player there. Look, I love Matteo Joseph, of course. I didn't love him, but I thought there was something that he could offer there. But Largy's, for me, is Largy is like there with Matteo here. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's so much that he can offer Leeds United. But and I think we're all on the same boat here. We're all here on that same boat. I don't think we all know we don't fancy him. So you've got to go out and get a replacement that you do fancy and you're going to play, and he's going to make an impact for Leeds United this season, especially in that transition. So have a look at what you guys are saying in the comment section below, shall we? You say his defensive work is better than Okafor and Nonto, but do the stats back it up over Harrison and Aronson? I can't tell you that, mate. Obviously, I based it more on the out-and-out left wingers that we're going to be playing, and Jack Harrison overall, I think, is decent when it comes to defensive work, but I guess when you're putting in the full pie, who's the better footballer? And I get what you're saying, KSP, completely understand it, but who is the better footballer? That's what it comes down to at the end of the day, mate. Who's the better footballer? Who will make the most impact in the Premier League? It's definitely not Jack Harrison. It's definitely his ball retention, his wild cards come on and make a difference. Bet Connor will be buzzing to see the Gruev in the team tomorrow. Do you know what? I have to say, like, with this as well, I'm not turning round when it comes to players like Gruev and hammering him. You know, that's not what I'm doing. It's not. It's really not when it comes to Elia Griff. I just don't think he's good enough. And I'm not just going to change this narrative all of a sudden to just fit. I don't think he's good enough. I think even when you saw him come on the other day, Farke said he played really well when he came on. I thought he was all right. I thought he was okay. But he didn't play well, I didn't think. He just came on and did a job. And that's what you need from Greb. But the problem is Everton were that bad. You're not going to get that. And that's not taking credit away from Leeds United whatsoever. But Everton was so bad, I thought, in that central midfield that you're not going to get many other teams who are going to be that lifeless in central midfield and are going to get bullied by a newly promoted side, which they did the other night. That's not going to happen a lot. And once again, it's game state, isn't it? Harrison can give a decent pass when needed and defend. Okay. Let's have a look. Connor, the squad size at the moment is 24, excluding Nonto, who's 21. A fullback signing is 1 in, 1 out. That means a cam right winger can come in. Anything else means a player going out. Yeah, David, I think it's more of a focus on the centre forward. I think that's kind of the focus where if we were to go out and get another one, I think someone's got to go. For me, anyway. I think that's got to happen. Right, okay, we'll get into all of the comments about the future bits in just a little bit, guys. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to carry on with the rumours, obviously, this morning, because we've not actually touched on them yet. So we'll get on to them. So James Hill of Bournemouth. Now, this is an interesting one. Leeds appear to be the only club in for James Hill. He is a centre-back by trade who can fill in at right-back. I think was one of the most impressive under-21s in the Championship. I think his match rating I was aware of James Hill a couple of years ago, really, because he was an up-and-coming youngster, wasn't he? But in the Championship, I think he was one of the top upper echelon under-21 players. Obviously, Bournemouth brought him in. 1 year left on his deal. Apparently, Farke really likes him. This was reported by Mark McAdam. Let's have a quick look at his statistics as well, just so you guys can get a visual on the type of player that he is. Okay. There we go. Right, so this is probably a little bit easy for you guys as well, isn't it? So, yeah, 15 appearances. Whether or not that's been starts, I'm not sure. But minutes played 783, which is probably in and around the minutes that largest play. So it's not been 15 appearances for him. 2 clean sheets. Yeah, so they're not outstanding statistics, are they? Now, just go out and get James Justin. Just go out and get James Justin. I don't... Would Strout leave because it's a centre-back coming in? I would hope not. I don't think that would happen as well because Hill is on the right side of a back two. I've heard a lot of people say this. If he comes in because he's a centre-back, would that mean Strout would leave? That would be staggeringly bad from Leeds United if they let that happen. Pascal, even the other day, he'll for some reason with sections of our fan base, he'll never get his flowers. The other day against Everton, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant against Everton. His pass completion, his reading of the game, his defensive statistics as well. When you have a look at FB Ref, he was brilliant the other day. Someone also put a compilation together of him on YouTube. Again, he didn't get anything wrong. And that is the level with Pascal. He's so, in my opinion, he's so underrated. Yeah, has he got a mistake in him? Of course he is, but I think most centre-backs do. The issue with Pascal is the fitness. Now, I don't think that will happen. I don't think Pascal's going to leave with 9 days to go. I don't think he'd be starting for Leeds in such a game of importance the other day and putting in a performance like he has if he was going to leave. James Hill, though, centre-back, if you're looking at someone, and Mark McAdam was saying it's full-back cover, just go get a full-back. Just go get a full-back. who can cover on the left, who can cover on the right. We've mentioned before when it comes to Kyle Walker-Peters. We've mentioned before when it's come to Nelson Semedo. We've mentioned before when it's come to James Justin. Just go out and get a fullback. I mean, we'd ideally want a left back and a right back. That's not going to happen. But if you go out and get someone who can cover both sides and is a natural fullback, great. James Hill, who's primarily a centre-back and can cover right-back, means that we don't have any cover for left-back. Or is the cover for left-back Byron, which we heard at the start of the window. For me, I think, and apparently the James Justin interview, the injury was just a dead leg the other day against Preston, so that's good news as well. I would much rather, I think he's more of a, I think he's can fill into the fullback roles with ease. Definitely, he's not the most incredible fullback, James Justin, but he's a good athlete. I think he'll be steady for Leeds United in and around better footballers than what he had with Leicester last season. He'll have more protection, and he's not going to play that many minutes anyway. I would be a James Justin fan over a James Hill fan, 100%. I don't want a centre-back who can cover right-back. I've never liked that anyway. I've never liked a centre-back covering right-back. I used to hate it when Pascal did it because right-back is a completely different position to centre-back. Right-back is a completely different position to centre midfield. Centre-back is a completely different position to central midfield. Completely different. And now you actually get into a stage in football where a left-sided centre-back, you actually get standardised left-sided centre-backs and standardised right-sided centre-backs, and you don't mix them. That's how football's going nowadays because press is on the back line, because of balance of a back line. It's all so important, and configuring that. Look, I'm not saying he's a bad footballer, but I don't want a centre-back covering right-back. I just don't want it. I think there's too many pacey players in the Premier League who can really affect that, especially out wide and with the sort of Swiss Army knife of skills they have. So for me, it goes with James Justin, and I hope we do that over James Hill. I'll be brutally honest with you. Let's have a little look at what you guys are saying in the comment section below. Brad says, Ampadu out is so disappointing. Such a big miss. Yep, we'll get onto that, mate. We'll get onto that. See what you guys are saying in as well. Hill and Strauch out. I hope not. Gruev is as good on the ball as Ampadu. Unfortunately, not the physicality. Was very impressed with Ampadu in that aspect against Everton. Yeah, I mean, look, mate. Jason, for me, mate, I completely disagree with that. I think when you look at Ampadu, there is a varying level of his passing ability. He's just severely underrated, I think, by our fan base. I think he's severely underrated. Not by you guys. So you guys have I always rate the one Leadsers, of course, but I think there's an online circuit of people who, for some reason, don't rate him as a Premier League football, don't rate his attributes. Ethan Ampadu is a really good passer of the ball. He can do short, he can do mid, he can do long, he can do it all. Gruev can't do that. And Ampadu, with the greatest of respect, is a braver central midfielder than what Gruev is. Gruev's ball retention and keeping the ball ticking over will be great. It'll be in the upper echelon of 80s, 85s. But if I'm an opposition manager and if I've got a central midfielder who's acting as an 8, I'm telling him to press on Gruev all the time. So I know that Gruev's going to go sideways or backwards. So I think that's a pertinent tactic that managers should use if they like Gruev to start from the very beginning with Leeds United, because he's not press resistant, and that's the big problem. Pascal was very good indeed. Yeah, I agree. Bamford, has any club actually inquired about the Lord? I think Wrexham or Birmingham did at some stage. I think they did anyway. Connor, would James Hill be like when Strout playing left back when we last in the Premier League? It's not realistic that we'll bring another centre back. Dave, well, Sky Sports are reporting it, mate, so it's probably more realistic than you believe, buddy. Grev's had another great pre-season. It's not one rule for one and another for another. Every player can development. Okay. Ampadu is always looking forward. Gruev plays it. Exactly right. Exactly. Just because, and look, we respect all different opinions on here, but I'm not going to start adding attributes to Eli Gruev because I like him. Do you know what I mean? And I do like Gruev. I'm sure he's a lovely lad as well. But yeah, there's no way. He's nowhere near a starter in the Premier League. He's just not. That's my opinion anyway. Jan says, why is your volume always so low? I tell you what, mate. We're going to do this now. I'll tell you what. So here you go, mate. This is the volume of everything right now. Here you go, pal. So this is what you call a roadcaster, my friend. There you go. Right. So my microphone, normally, Jan, is right in the middle. Okay. Right in the middle. This morning, and yesterday, it is at maximum, my friend. I can't do anything about that. I can't do anything about that. So it is what it is. We are on a plus audio gain on OBS as well. It is what it is, my friend. Let's touch on Ethan Ampadu, shall we, everybody? So Ampadu being out, we're going to get into the other bits and bats when it comes to the Arsenal game, but we'll touch on Christantus Uche as well, shall we, everybody? Let's get into the main match. Oh, you're getting a bit excited there. We're not getting there yet. I'm not. Should we go? Should we go there? Nah, we'll let you wait. Christantus Uche, Getafe this morning. Interesting news. They are wanting offers for the central attacking midfielder. Why, Connor? I hear you scream from your bedrooms or living rooms, whatever, kitchen maybe. Who knows? Outside, if you're lucky enough to have the sun. But yes, they are needing to sell Christantus Uche, one of their better options right now, or bigger assets right now, because they need to sell for FFP right now, Getafe, which is developed. Apparently, they had a valuation of Christantus Uche at the very beginning of the window, which was around about 25 million euros. That has now been drastically reduced because no team has put in an official offer for Getafe, and reports close to Getafe, Dario AS, are reporting this morning that they're panicking a little bit because they need to get money in for FFP, the wonderful world of football, everybody. Now, it's not only Leeds. Everton are looking at him. Wolves are looking at him. Nice are looking at him as well. So this is someone who is explosive. 22 years of age. She doesn't really fit the seniority complex and department of which Leeds United have been going for. You look at Okafor, you look at Jakobio, you look at Anton Stark, you look at Lucas Mecha, all of a very similar age profile. Uche would not be that, okay? So you bring someone like him in, he'd be in that central attacking midfield role. Still going to be a little bit of an adaptation period there. I like him. Explosive, good off his left, good off his right, good shot efficiency as well. A lot there. A lot there that we can look at when bringing him in. I guess, I don't know with Uche. I don't know with him. I think if you are still throwing me in the face, you throwing this in my face, you're going, have that, Connor. Pie in the face. Bilal El Khannouss. Facundo Buenanotte. Gustavo Hamer. Amy Buendia, no. But those three, I'm thinking to myself, baby, baby, baby. Not this window, Christantus. Do you know what I mean? Bilal El Khannouss. Rumours surrounding Tottenham. They are moving on. Okay? They have got the... I think he's called Paz, isn't it? I think he's called Paz. I went for him before. Como, Spurs, central attacking midfielder. I'm sure. I've only heard of him very recently, but he looks like got it right. Nico Paz, 20 years of age. Como wanted 70 million euros for him, but apparently Tottenham Hotspur are absolutely, he's their primary target. That's come from Gary Jacob. That is in the central attacking midfield role. So looks like Spurs are not going to be moving on after they were beaten to Eberechi Eze by Arsenal. Then you look at Crystal Palace, okay? Crystal Palace apparently have walked away from Bilal El Khannouss because of the valuation. Now, is that true? Is that not true? We're not 100% sure yet. There was a couple of reports suggesting this yesterday, but apparently it is a crucial 24 hours when it comes to Glasner, Crystal Palace, and Bilal El Khannouss. Reports have said today from Sasha Tavaleri that there is still no agreement between Crystal Palace and Leicester City, despite reports. Bilal El Khannouss is still top priority. The clubs need to discuss again today after CPFC has rejected the counter proposal of LCFC. Apparently this is a bit of an issue right now, and there is a vulnerability that Crystal Palace may walk away to go for someone else. So could this open the door for Leeds United? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Are they going to walk away? Apparently this counter agreement as well is a bit of an issue, but you guys know who I'd be going for. I'd still be going for him. That would still be my target. I know a lot of people are talking about Bilal. I know a lot of people are talking about Facundo Buenanotte. I don't think that'll happen, but it's got to be. It's just got to be. Can you guys see that? Go and do it. Go and do it. Oh, God. Uche scored and assisted last weekend. I did see that, mate. Yeah, I did see that. Uche plays central, but I have watched him loads, and I think he could operate very well as a right winger. Beck can't play on the right. But Chris, he drifts into the pocket, mate. He drifts into the pocket and he inverts, so he can effectively play out there. Think Pablo Hernandez. He drifts into the pocket. Pablo was never a right winger, okay? But Bilal El Khannouss, I don't think he's an out-and-out right winger. Can play in the 8. We've spoke about him playing in the 8, playing in the 10, but he drifts into that pocket out wide on the left and on the right. And a drifter is exactly what we need because they're hard to pick up, the free roamers. Effortless French says the 3 newly promoted teams can't compete with existing Premier League teams. Beck will go to an existing as a player. We'll have a hand-in-hand transfer. Well, we beat Everton last week. Sunderland beat West Ham, so we can compete with them, can't they? Why would any player pick Palace over Leeds? I don't get it. Palace will never be a Leeds United. Yeah, potentially you're right there. Yes, let's touch on Ethan Ampadu. I guess let's touch on Ethan Ampadu. As Brad says, it is a massive. It's massively upsetting, isn't it, that he's missing this game? And this kind of adapts the old likelihood when it comes to the starting 11. This is kind of what I'm looking at now. So went yesterday with a 3-4-3. I don't think he's going to go with a 3-4-3. I think it's massively harsh that Ampadu, Ampadu, but Strout misses out. I've just got a feeling with how low blocky this is, how many balls are going to come into the box. The big thing is that Kai Havertz is out for this one. We've mentioned this several times before on the channel that Kai Havertz is a bit more of a roamer, and he's tall, he's physical, he fits the almost Leeds United mould when it comes to what we've been targeting. He is a problem, and I think Gyökeres is more of a box striker, more of a poacher, and I think Yacob could do a job on him. I genuinely believe that. So I think Biel coming in for this one to have him on Gyökeres is kind of the bit of which I'm looking at right now. I think we'll go to a 4-2-3-1 with Longstaff almost coming in and just fitting in front of that 3. But there is a potential likelihood as well that Farke goes with something like this. And I genuinely think this is a likelihood as well. Would I be surprised? I don't even know if I would be surprised. I think that he could do something like this. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below regarding this. Do you think he could do this? I think he might do. He loves Gruev, doesn't he? I think there's something potentially like this because Leeds are going to effectively have... I mean, how many defenders are we going to have in this game? All the team. You've got to have an out ball. I think Metra is that out ball. I think he's going to really struggle. So you have to win that second ball. Dan James and Nonto have to be so in tune with Lucas Metra in this game. They cannot just like Gabriel and Saliba bully Metra. That second ball has to be picked up by Dan James. It has to be picked up by William Yonto. They have to be close to Lucas Metra. That's what has to happen this game. So this is where it's quite difficult for Leeds United to get out. Now, 4-3-3 can be a really attacking formation, but it can also be quite defensive as well because effectively you can get Nonto and James just effectively morphing into a 4-5-1 if they go into that midfield, which is what Leeds are going to have to be out of possession. It's a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1 if Gruev just almost sits in between Biol and Rodon in possession and out possession. So I think Tanaka's going to have to play. I think Stack, obviously, is going to have to play. But I think, genuinely, thinking about it is probably what we're going to see. I think he's going to go for a very conservative option. And I think I'd put money on this being the team tomorrow. I'd put money on it. I might put money on it. Who knows? Chris says, Amp's a big loss. Philly could have put Odegaard in his pocket. Be all in for Stroud for the aerial ability. Longstaff in for Amps. But thing is, Chris, and I keep mentioning this, though, when it comes to us going to a back 3 with Stroud, Biol, and Rodon, Stroud wins so many headers per 90. So many headers per 90. Stats back it up as well. So I think Biol coming in is going to be big, but I think Stroud would be able to still do a job as well, to be honest with you. I'm convinced it'll be that 4-3-3 lineup with Gruev. I agree. The disrespect on Pascal, not from me, mate. Not from me. I just think this is what he's going to do. And put it out for 4 weeks. Good day. I guess Gruev and Peru will be starting on Saturday. Peru can't start. Peru can't start me. Can he? Do you think he will? Do you think he'll start Peru? Guys, slap a like on the video as well. Do you think that will happen? I'm not sure. Surely not. Surely not. I reckon he'll start with Peru. We just don't. We just don't hold the ball up. Then we just don't hold the ball up and we don't get out. I just don't think that can happen. 3-5-2. Pascal gets a nod. Connor, who should start out of our strikes? I think Mecha will, mate. I think Mecha will. I don't think DCL's ready yet. No, I don't think DCL will start, lads. No, I don't think he will. So yeah, guys, listen. Before we end, do us a favor. Check out BetMate. We've got massive bets ahead of this weekend. Scan that QR code, and I've got my team sorted for this week. So I've got my 7 players. I've entered the game week 2 pot, of which I've got, I might have a Mr. Anton Stack in my team. So check that out. Everybody, link in the description below for that one. Also, Shop GNO, best e-commerce site on the site. On the net, I should say, ran by a Leeds United fan. 5% cheaper rates than Amazon, Vinted, and eBay. Listen, go on there. It's cheap to buy, and you can put your shop on there as well. We've got 3 Leeds United-based shops on there right now in terms of Leeds fans who've listed their shops on there. Very happy with what they run as well in terms of the rates. There you go. You might as well do it. You don't always have to be part of these corporate conglomerates which rip you off. You don't need to do that. Also, guys, OK Jersey. Check out all your brand new jerseys on there as well. Your replica shirts, they're fantastic. As I said, got 10 coming through the door. Can't wait to see them through the door as well. It should be coming today or maybe tomorrow. I'll have them on. Don't worry, I'll have them on. But listen, we're going to be here for the watch along tomorrow as well. Join me from 4:30 tomorrow, and then we'll have the instant match reaction. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. It's been an absolute pleasure.